Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Thomas Harkin, and welcome to the FFC Show. Today, I'm joined by Chris Mee, who is the head coach of Striking Clinic in Banbury. Striking Clinic have Harry Grundy match with Cory Copp from Team WKU in a K1 bout, and we've also got Rob Tennant match with Jacob Lord in a K1 bout as well. So, Chris, welcome on, brother. And if you just want to give a bit of introduction about yourself and tell everybody about you, please, bro.
Well, as you can see, I'm a handsome young man, fit and healthy. definitely a lot laid up with a new hip. Yeah, I've been doing martial arts since I was about 6 years old. I set up the Striking Clinic. Well, once upon a time, I set up the Striking Clinic in 2015, and because I'm a terrible businessman, it didn't work out. And then I got a good opportunity to open it up again in 2020. But we actually opened it up during the lockdown, or
Yeah,
between the first and second lockdown. And so
nice.
we had some interesting times in our first 12 months of trying to keep the gym going and keeping it open.
Yeah,
But yeah, since then we've gone strength to strength.
awesome. So we'll start with you. And so, where did martial arts first start for you? Where did you begin?
Well, do you know, as a kid, I was never into like ball sports or anything typical football, rugby, any of that sort of stuff. And one of my classmates when I was in like primary school, his dad started a karate club
Yeah,
literally around the corner from my house. And my mom dragged me and my brother along, and we got stuck in and loved it, mate. Never looked back. Never looked back. That's
nice.
that's that's been it since day one.
That's the first discipline was karate. What style of karate? Because I know there's a mixture in it. There's a couple of different forms.
So it was mostly Shotokan, but
Hmm.
the guy who was coaching it was an interesting bloke. So I believe he was a judo black belt as well, and then he was like an ex-marine as well, and he boxed in the army and stuff. So
Oh,
he was
nice.
actually very well versed in everything and really made you work hard even when you were kids. But it was a good mixed style. It wasn't just like katas and
Yeah,
self-defense stuff. It was good.
yeah. Excuse me, because that's normally what people associate karate with, isn't it? Is the self defense, the katas, and the stuff like that. But obviously, with the marine background, it sounds a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, it was definitely he definitely had a rough, tough personality. Those guys, you don't think of it now, but like he was coaching adults and kids all in the same room at once, and you could see him when the kids were misbehaving and stuff, myself included. You could see his blood boiling to a point where he's like, oh, the face is bright red. You're like, oh, you're not getting into this to like coach kids in like a friendly way. You're teaching people to fight. Okay, got it,
Yeah.
got it. But no, I loved it.
No, that's always the thing in it. When you find one martial art that grabs you from the start and then pulls you in, and then not just that, but you find the competitive edge to know, especially if you enjoy it. And like you said, especially with the mix of everything, and then get to test him on seeing how far you can push him and all that type of stuff with the coaching aspect.
It's a nice touch, man. It's definitely it's good to see the boys succeed.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously started with karate, and then what was the move from the traditional style into the kickboxing and MMA and Muay Thai and all that type of stuff?
So, I mean, you probably had it. I mean, how old are you, Tom?
33.
33. Okay, so we're similar ages. So back in the day, there wasn't really any full-time martial arts facilities kicking around, was there? So I obviously was doing the karate when I was younger, and then when I was older, like in my teens, I got into this kung fu gym because they just had more availability to train,
Yeah.
and it was still training in like school halls and stuff, but it was good. And they did a style of sparring of Chinese kickboxing. I don't know. Have
Okay.
you ever heard of Sanshao?
Yes, yes, yes. Only a little bit. I haven't looked into it too much, but I have heard about it.
Dude, it is so cool. Right. I wish it was a bit more popular because I'd have my guys doing it. But it's a mix of like K1 basically, but without the knees. So you still have the low kicks and things. But
Yeah.
then also it's mixed in with judo. So you get points for throw in, takedowns, sweeps. You can push people out of the sparring space. So it's normally fought on a platform instead of a ring. And so if you push somebody off the podium, essentially, you're just gaining points. There's so many cool ways to score, but unfortunately, it is even at like the high amateur levels and some of the pros they fight with like body shields on and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like the target area if you hit the body shield and stuff. But Kung Lee was always the most famous guy to have fought in that, and I think he fought in the UFC. Yeah, because he fought Bisping, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He fought Bisping, and then Kung Lee he got popped for steroids, didn't he? And then he was like 40,
oh, did he?
43, and he looked insane. I remember. Yeah, I remember Kung Lee.
Yeah, I remember Bisping saying, "He's like, oh, you've just come into your hormonal peak at 43, have you? Of course you have." Yeah. It was quite clear and obvious, wasn't it?
So obviously that just gives me kickboxer vibes, you know, like Jean-Claude Van Damme kickboxer style, like with the raised podium and all that type of stuff. That's what that kind of gives me. So as you said, so you've done the kung fu stuff. So then what took you then into competing? What was your first martial art that you competed in?
So I'd competed in the light contact Chinese kickboxing, the Sanshao stuff, and I did all right. But I would say that my school wasn't necessarily suited to competition.
Okay.
My actual kickboxing coach was more of a points and freestyle, like American freestyle kickboxer, and so he had that kind of focus. I would, without trying to badmouth anybody, I would say he was very much stuck in a rut with what he used to coach, and he liked to stick to the syllabus and get people focused on grading and getting the next belt and stuff. It's a business model, and it's a good business model, but it just meant that when I was competing, I was like, man, I'm not prepared for this. Like, I'm seeing these guys doing this and they're reacting faster. I mean, we'd spar and stuff, and we'd spar under those rules, but you just weren't getting the right fight training. You got to train right for the fight. And so it came to a point where I was like, God, if I want to progress competitively, I've got to stretch out and go and try and find somewhere that's a bit more of a professional fight gym, So I ended up in a gym called Titans in Redditch and Redditch MMA, and I used to compete in this style called pancration as an amateur.
That's the when you say pancration, Baz Rutten style is that what we're referencing to?
Yeah.
Love that.
But as I say, it was amateur stuff. Back in the day, you were just competing in whatever you could find. It was very hard to find like big shows like yourself. So I was just competing in school halls and sports halls here and there, and just whatever I could sign up to get some experience, I would do it. I mean, I competed. I think it was 2008 was my most competitive year, and I think I competed twice a month minimum. Nice. And then also, if I'd win my category, which I did a few times, I would also go on and try and fight in the heavyweight category because I was light heavyweight, and I'd be like, fuck it, jump in with the big boys. Oh, are we allowed to swear today?
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah, bro.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I try not to. I try and make myself sound like a bit of an intellectual. So I was getting a lot of ride time. I never won the heavyweight tournament, but there was a few matches where I was like, or a few matches in the finals where I was like, come on, I had that. It was back when there was a lot of politics in competition. So yeah. And then when I was finished with the pancreation stuff, I had a bad shoulder injury. I had my AC joint blown apart, separated and stuff. I got into just doing Muay Thai then, to try and avoid any extra damage, which is ironic because it's a damaging sport, but I didn't want that shoulder to be destroyed. I was trying my hardest to avoid having surgery on it whilst I was still young and competing. But then as I got older, I did it again and ended up having to get it all reattached. But yeah, so through Titans, I competed, I fought, and did a hell of a lot of interclubs. My coach used to get us doing a lot of interclubs to make sure that we were experienced and ready. It was a good time.
Do you find that you carry the same things that your coach used to do to you? So, like you said about interclubs, like that's one thing that you do see with your guys is that they are active consistently, and even if it's interclubbing or if it's fighting, you do get them out. Like I see it quite a lot that you get your guys working. Do you think that you've carried that from your old coaching style?
Yeah, I would say I do really like my guys to be prepared when they're going into fights and stuff. I'm quite so I am two coaches if you come to me and you're like, oh, I'm interested in making a start with this and giving it a go and having a little play around on the bags, I'm the friendly guy that's like, oh, dude, I'm glad to see you here. Let's get in. Oh, awesome. Let's do this. But if you tell me you want to fight, I'm ruthless. Absolutely ruthless with you. I'm like, what's your weight? How much you're running? Why the fuck is this happening? What, you know? So I'm brutal with the guys that compete. But we have a good winning record.
Yeah, exactly. It shows as well. That's the thing. Like, obviously, as you said, you've got a good winning record. It shows across the team that, like, you need that brutality aspect of it. Do you know what I mean? You need to be honest. People hate it when people are honest with them, innit? But you need to be fucking honest because it's a painful thing.
Yeah, well, it's an incredibly honest sport, because if I'm here just fluffing you up and being like, dude, you're the best, nobody's ever going to beat you, don't worry about it. Oh, don't worry about running and stuff. You're fit, you're fine. The honesty will come out when you're in the ring, and you'll find out how fit you are and you'll find out how prepared you are. And I would just much rather my guys suffer a little bit through that, 8-week fight camp and then be fully prepared as they step in the ring.
No, I agree with you on that. But now we touched on the injuries and stuff. Was that a bit of a moment then that kind of, like, I know I'm say stopped your career, because obviously, as you said, that you worked around it. But was that a moment that kind of like shined out to you, that obviously, that things can happen?
Yeah, that was definitely a moment where I realized I wasn't invincible and everything wasn't just going to go my way regardless. So I was actually 4 days out from fighting for a semi-pro title in this pancration stuff. So that was going to be like my next big step up. And I just jumped on an MMA class in that last week. You're just trying to stay loose and stuff. And the coach picked me out to demonstrate with. And I was like, oh, what we doing? He's like, oh, don't worry, just follow my lead. And he did some, I had got like a body lock from the back, and he ripped a Kimura. But because I didn't know what he was doing, there was just a fumble and a trip. I think he fell over my foot or I stepped wrong or something. And we ended up landing with my arm like in a full Kimura rip around the back. And he landed on me, on my shoulder in the Kimura. And it just boomed. Like you've heard ligaments pop before and stuff. This was big, bad, and nasty. And you put a brave face on it, being a tough son of a bitch. But yeah, man, that was sore. That was sore. So the fight was off, and then after that, it was a lot of rehab time and a lot of focusing on. I'd never really done any of the softer stuff before. It was always like, how fast can I run? How many press ups can I do? How hard can I spar? And I had to really change my way of thinking and try and get a bit smarter with it all.
Yeah, and that's hard as well, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That's to go from one way to then something's happened, and then you've got to work around it, and then you've got to completely change how you are. I think that does, I think that does hinder a little bit, especially when it comes to those type of shoulder injuries and stuff like that. They're long lasting, and they're always going to fucking be there. They're always going to come back and niggle or something like that, especially when you're doing any form of strength and conditioning or any form of like competitive clinch work or anything like that. Did you find that you had that as well?
Yeah, I found that it would get very tired very quickly, and occasionally with like heavier carries and stuff, I'd get what I can only describe as a drop. Like my shoulder would my arm would start dragging away from the body. But I had like a reconstruction on it back in, when was it now? I think it was 2019, something like that.
Yeah.
It just gone again. I was doing some shoulder pressing, it popped. I did some yoga, it popped. And then I was loading something up on the roof of the van, and as I threw it up over the top, it just so yeah, I've had an artificial ligament put in, and that's tied it all down. And to be fair, look, I don't know if you had any surgeries.
Yeah, I've got surgery on my hand. I haven't done nothing on my shoulders though.
Yeah, so surgeons are interesting fellows. They're like, they've definitely got a god complex. But when I woke up, I was like, oh, is there anything that I've got to do? Have I got to try and avoid anything with his shoulder? And the guy turned to me and looked at me and like with a bit of disgust and was like, that shoulder is better than God made it. I was like, all right, bro, calm down. At least you're confident, you know?
Isn't it? Fucking hell. So obviously coming away from the injuries and stuff then. So let's jump into the striking clinic. As you said, you went through the process of reopening and stuff. So when did coaching start becoming the main focus for yourself then?
Well, I stopped training back when I was 24. So I'm 38 now. So 14 years ago. And that was because of this hip that I've just had replaced. It just was very painful, very sore, and it just couldn't, I was necking painkillers every day and stuff. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm never going to compete again with this. I'm done. But I've always had an inkling for coaching. I've enjoyed coaching. I think it's a very male trait to just want to pass on knowledge without trying to kick off all the feminists out there. I'm sure the ladies are great at it too, but man, I love coaching. It doesn't matter whether it's the gym stuff, the fight stuff, or even just like the handyman tradey stuff that I do as well. I love just passing on a bit of knowledge. It's one of my favorite things to do. And so whilst I wasn't competing, I still had a bit of a name locally, and people would still ask me for advice on either their training, or maybe they'd send me videos of their previous fights and be like, what do you think I could have done better? Or I'm fighting this guy, would you mind reviewing a bit of footage for me and having a look? And I just kept my hand in it that way. And then I say in 2020, my buddy Gav from 10th Planet Banbury, it's obviously a huge name in jiu-jitsu right now. He said to me that he was sort of branching out from the gym that he was working with and was looking to set up his own thing, and just sort of thought there was space for the both of us to do it together, and we'd like to sort of make a team together. And that was it for me. Never look back. Never look back.
Nice. See, I love that, especially as you've got the both disciplines as well. You obviously being with the striking, and then obviously having jiu-jitsu there. You've kind of just got everything under one roof there, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. I think for the MMA aspect of things, I would love us to have a guy that is as passionate about the war work, the wrestling, that bit of it, just to bring it all together. We used to have this absolute legend called Dylan Cahoon, but he was with the American Air Force, and he used to come over and coach for us. He'd done a lot of wrestling, a lot of MMA over in America, and he was as passionate about that aspect of the sport as I am about striking, and Gav is about jiu-jitsu. And when we were all working together, we had a very strong MMA team. And at the moment, it's not where I want it to be. Although we've got some very good lads, some of my fighters and stuff, that have taken on that role, and yeah, things are looking to swing in our favour in the coming years.
When one of the things I wanted to ask then, so obviously when you said you stopped at 24 and you couldn't have took on the role with the gym, was it difficult going from fighter to the coach? So like, because obviously, as you said, you kept your hand in it, but did you find it more difficult not being fully involved? And what I mean by fully involved is like the training aspect and all that type of stuff. Because obviously, from a coaching point of view, you kind of have to be very observant. You have to be moving around. You have to kind of like put your time into everybody. Did you find it hard going into that position?
Do you know? I think I'd made amends with the fight stuff, that I knew that was as far as I could have gone.
Yeah.
And so when I came back to it and started coaching again, that was all I really wanted to do from it.
Yeah.
And I don't have any jealousy or envy when the guys do things well, or when they're winning. I'm never in that position where I'm like, God, I wish that was me. I'm just happy to be part of the journey, you know.
Number one fan, isn't it? It's the same as me. Same as me with my guys. You're just their number one fan. It doesn't matter, what's going on. You're just there, and you're just living in the fucking moment, and you're just soaking it all up. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I really do. And from every part of it as well. There's obviously there's been guys that just go strength to strength, keep winning and winning and winning, and there's guys that have had rougher journeys to start getting onto that winning streak. Almost like I told one guy. So it's Harry, who's matched up on your show in August. On his first interclub, I was like, look, it's an inter-club. You're going to be absolutely fine. Just do what you do in the gym. You'll be all right. And his first matchup was with a guy who was a pro boxer, pro K1 fighter, pro in Muay Thai, and he was fighting for a K1 world title 2 weeks later, which he won. And that was Harry's first inter-club. And to be fair, you know, the guy reined it in a bit, but God, did he beat the crap out of Harry. And I was like, okay. But then for the next 5 interclubs, it was all the same. He had to spar that guy again. He had some absolute monsters that he fought in his first 5 interclubs. And I was like, dude, we need to get you like a rabbit foot or something, because I've never seen it. Even in his first fight when he made his debut, there was some weird matchmaking where it all got sort of made up on the day of the fight rather than, you know, like you want to have a bit of information. And so we were there, turned up ready to fight, and we got put in with a guy who was 4-0, 4 knockouts, and Harry lost that fight, which I was a bit upset with. But you know, it is what it is. It's what we class as fight day fuckery. I'm sure everybody's got their own terminology for it, but you know, it's just, that's why we're so chill. Like obviously your last show, incredible show, but when we turned up, you were like, so they've started some building work downstairs, and you guys are in the dustiest room ever. And we're like, fight day fuckery, bro. Nothing phases us. Absolutely nothing phases us. We just put it in that category of fight day fuckery. We're just here to fight. We know we'll be stepping in the ring, and we'll get it done.
That is one of the best things, is they like we've got the same kind of thing with ours. You just kind of turn up. It's like whatever gets thrown your way, you just have to kind of like bat through it. You can't sit there and go, for fuck's sake, this is wrong or this is wrong. You just kind of, okay, cool. If that's what it is, it's out of your control. You just kind of have to go with it. And it is what it is. But then with the matchmaking, that's one of those ones where I wouldn't really see it as fight day fuckery. I'd be a bit fucked off for that more than anything else.
Always, but you know, we've worked with them since, and everything's been considerably better. So I don't want to badmouth or name and shame. But
that's fair, bro.
It's all good.
Do you know the fight day fuckery? Do you put that in within like a hard thing, or because obviously fight day it's a long day, innit? You know, you guys travel, obviously, if talking about coming down here, you travel quite a distance, and then not just that as well, like you're I'm not going to say responsible for the fighters, but like you're like the grown up one. Do you know what I mean? Like being the coach, you know, you're you know, you've got 2 of the boys fucking about shadow boxing in McDonald's car park, and then do you know what I mean? Like, do you find that, like, I love it. I do. I think that's one of the best things about fight day, is like the whole camaraderie, the whole travel, the whole, you know, just enjoying it. Like, is there anything that you find hard with it?
Do you know what? I love the whole fight day thing. I really enjoy it. And it's a good chance to spend time with you guys, because a lot of the time they're in and out of the gym, and you don't really get to speak to them and have a good catch up and stuff. So it's good to just pull them aside and keep everything normal. One way of putting it. Oh yeah, you're going to go in there and fight to the death in a minute, but for now, let's talk. How's your nan? But no, I do love it. But there are some stories. In fact, I'll tell you one quick. So Jed, who fought on your show last time, obviously is an incredible fighter, and he's really growing into being like an excellent coach in the gym as well. But he is unbelievably mischievous. Like whatever venue we go to, he likes to have a good look around. He likes to know what's where and what's happening. And I don't think you can get back there, but if I climb over this and do this. So we went down to Predators Fight League. Where was that now? Southampton, somewhere like that. And it was at the football ground. And there were some barriers up, and Jed was like, well, you know, I've never been here before. Let's go and have a look, see what's going around. So Jed got done for trespassing and got banned from the venue. Now, as I mentioned before, my hip was all torn out, and I couldn't really stand on it. I couldn't really do much pad work and stuff. So I brought Jed down to be the corner man and the pad man for Zach to help warm him up. Fuck me, he got banned from the venue. Yeah, big time banned from the venue. And I was like, we are 2.5 hours away from home. Like, we didn't have any like support and people comment. So I was like, I've got this kid with me who's now basically just sat in my car. But because of his mischievousness, he managed to find a way in through a fire escape, sneak underneath a platform. I had a couple of change of clothes and stuff in the van anyway, and he managed to get himself back into the venue. And the security guards, I was just like occasionally nodding at them and being like, "You're all right, are you? Yeah, we're good, we're cool. We all know what's happening here, but let's just ignore it." So yeah, so he did manage to fulfill his duties of being a padman. Which was good. But we had a very stressful, basically 90 minutes of the fight day. Yeah, very close to the fight that I could have done without. But like you say, you control your controllables. It was fight day fuckery, and you've just got to do what you can do and manage everything else, you know? But yeah, Jed is the one for getting in trouble, mate. He will get in trouble at every chance that you get. You'll be at a venue, you'll be sitting somewhere watching the fights before you go, and then you'll look up and you'll just see him sat in one of like the premier boxes and things. You're like, what on earth are you doing up there? He's been dragged out of so many places. It's it's insane. So yeah, very good corner man, very good coach. But if somebody's going to get in trouble, it's Jed.
You know, love that. I love that. Okay, put it. You know those backpack harnesses you get for kids? Just put them on.
Yeah. I definitely need a bit of a rain. Like, no, I should actually just get him a shot collar and set a bit of a perimeter. That'd be better. But no, don't go past the barrier, Jed. But I want to see what's there.
So we'll jump back to the gym now. Obviously, one of the things you said was during COVID and all that type of stuff. So tell me, what was the early version of Striking Clinic compared to what it is now?
Well, we were in an interesting spot. So we were actually renting the room that we're in now off of another gym.
Okay.
So they had like a weights gym upstairs and and next door downstairs. So huge weights gym. It's like was like a powerlifting bodybuilding gym, massive. And they had this room that was designated for martial arts. And they had a karate coach in there a couple of times a week. But other than that, it'd just be a couple of the members going in and hitting the bags. And so they started renting it to us for like £20 an hour. And myself and Gav, we would alternate the days that we'd go in and coach. And we sort of cross paths on the weekends and things. And it was perfect. And then we were sort of offered to take it on full time. So we rented that room off him full time. That worked out all right. But it came a little early. We didn't really have the members to back it up. So we were like breaking even at best. And then just as we started to get a bit more comfortable, little bit of profit, the guy turned to us and was like, look, I'm going to a bigger unit. I'm going to do something mega. And they've made this, it's called EP Gym. It's a huge gym and all the best quality stuff you can get. But they moved around the corner and they were like, well, look, if you want to stay, you can take on the unit, but you've obviously got to sign contracts and do all of this sort of stuff. And myself and Gav, like, we're not businessmen, you know, we're not businessmen at all. We're coaches. That's what we got into it for. And all of a sudden we're signing like 10-year leases and got to pay X amount a month and it's all contractual. And, you know, it got very real very quick and it all came a little bit early. So just as we'd become comfortable again, boom, it went down. But the added benefit is that instead of us just training out of one room, we both had a full room each. So overnight, we went to doing 7 days a week for both of us. So he's got jiu-jitsu 7 days a week upstairs, and I've got K1 and MMA 7 days a week downstairs. And we love it, you know, absolutely love it. But yeah, there were some touch and go moments there, obviously during the COVID times and you know, lockdowns and things. Yeah, it was very difficult, but now we're all set up and established. It is good to go, but you can't forget that journey of the early on phase where, you know, you're working a job to pay to keep your gym open, and people walk in and see it, and they're like, "Oh, this place is really nice. You must be doing really well," and you're there shaking because you just hope you've got the money to pay the rent next month. But
So, I know exactly what you mean with obviously you're putting everything into it, and especially with COVID fucked everybody up, didn't it? You know,
yeah.
and it did, especially in the fitness industry. It was mental how everybody was supposed to, like, the one thing that's supposed to be good for you is you're getting told not to do, like, do you know what I mean? But
Yeah, that was insane, wasn't it? You know, yeah, I mean, I don't want to make my conspiracy theory side come out, but it was very strange to be like, you can't go to the gym, but you can go to McDonald's because that's
yes,
essential. You can't go on a walk, but you can go to KFC. Very,
Yeah.
very strange. You can't go to the local shop, but you can go to the supermarket.
You can go to the big Asda, but you can't go to, no, I know, I got you. So obviously, as you said, you built the gym and you had everybody in. Now, as we touched on from the start, you've got the two sides to you as the coach. You know, obviously you've got the, like, if you want to come in and get fit, I'm the lovely guy. If you want to come in and fight, I'm this type of person. So what was your feeling when you had people coming in? Because obviously you've got hobbyists, you've got kids, and you've got beginners and stuff. Like, what was that like when you decided to go to 7 days a week, and then you knew that, like, it's like, right, you know, that it's real now, you know? Because obviously I bet that was like a realization feeling, wasn't it, when you opened the doors to 7 days a week and you knew that, like, you were doing yours, and then you had 10th Planet running as well. What was that working like?
It was interesting. I mean, I did it as a bit of a business idea to put, so I have 2 beginners classes on prime times on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 to 8. And I want those classes to be permanent. I know some people do like an 8-week course or a 6-week course, beginners, but I just wanted it to be always a thing. You can turn up and always, at any level, walk through the door, you're going to enjoy that class. And those are some of my favorite classes to coach, because you can slow things down, you can take a bit more time describing things, you can kick out a couple of extra jokes and things and get the room laughing. And it's a much nicer pace, because the idea of those classes is purely just to educate people on what the techniques are and how you do them and when you should do them. Whereas when it's the more intermediate and advanced classes, it's a bit more intense. And so the jokes don't come out as much. And it's a bit like, why the fuck are you stepping like this? Why did you just cross the center line from there to there? Like, that's where the danger is, you know? So yeah, it's 2 very different coaches, but luckily I got so many personalities I can just switch between them. I'd say the biggest shock that we have is when we have kids coming up from the kids classes into the adults. So from 14 years old, you can train in the adults classes with us, and I have to warn them. I'm like, look, just gotta let you know, I'm a very nice guy in these kids classes, because I am pretending. I'm like, you get to meet the real Chris in the big class. I was like, the music is different. You're going to hear me say some real fucked up shit, but you're going to have a good time. Just don't repeat anything I say and you'll be all right.
Yeah, but I'm in the exact same boat as that. Exactly the same with my kids. It's like we got 2 who are fighting on the show. We got Little Bad Brad and we got Hudson, and I PT Hudson every Saturday. But with Little Bad Brad, he's 15. So like, he trains with the adults now, and like, he understands. Do you know what I mean? Like, he gets it. He understands. Like, with my kids' class, none of the boys are allowed to swear when they come in and train. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have these set rules that, you know, that I would expect if I sent a kid to a gym. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly,
like,
the same.
The kids would, if one of the boys swear, the kids would call 10 burpees. Do you know? It's like little things like this, you know. And I said to Brad, I was like, Brad, you know what happens now, bro? I said, when you come up into the adults classes, it's a lot different. You know, I said, like, everything's a lot more intense. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And you can just see the, you know, the enjoyment. He already loves, he's just happy to be a part of it. And it's great to see that development from like a 12-year-old kid coming to the gym the first time. And then now he's like, he goes up to all the adults team and he like fist bumps all the adults team, asks them about when their next fight is, asks to do some sparring. And I love it. I think that's one of the best things with the kids and him moving on up into the adults class, especially as you can see the progression.
Yes,
I do. Yeah. I think I love that part, man.
So I think our most successful junior to adult story is a kid called Jack Swag Shannon. So I posted about him this morning, that highlight from his second fight. He was interested. Like, he's he always was a very introverted kid. You'd be like, "You're right, Jack, how you doing?" He'd be like, "Mm-hmm." You know, but he was a little bit smaller. He was like 11, I think, when he started, 11 or 12, as you say. And our kids' classes then weren't what they are now. There was no sparring and stuff, because I was so nervous when I started doing the kids' classes about upset kids and crying and parents getting upset, which, you know, naturally, instinctually they do. And it's the same with kids competing and stuff. I'm like, it's bad enough when you got a hurt fighter, but then you're like, you've got parents and it makes me very, very nervous, a different element of nerves, you know. But Jack was always on the kids' classes and he was always listening, and he would always try and do exactly as you're telling him to do. And then when he came into the adults classes, fantastic, off to the races, start getting him on some interclubs and things. And then it just, the way it fell, I wanted him to start fighting last year. He was definitely good enough, but he's actually a smart kid as well. So his parents wanted him to focus on his GCSEs, so he wasn't training as much and things. And I would say that back in January, I was like, I barely saw the kid, and I was like, God, I think there's a chance that we could almost like lose his interest here. This is such a shame. And then there was a fighter pulled out in February on this show called Hotwood Showdown. Was it Hotwood Showdown? Yeah, something like that. And they messaged being like, we need a kid that's 64 kilos, 16 years old. And I was like, well, believe it or not, I've got one. And I was like, well, dude, how's about it then, Jack? So on 48 hours notice, not stepping foot in the gym for 3 weeks, we took this fight, and he did really well, smashed it, got the decision. But obviously he was a bit gassed out and stuff. But then that was the turning point for Jack, where he was like, I'm a fighter. Like, I'm running three, 4 times a week. I'm in the gym as much as I can. And so now, when was it? Last month he won a tournament. So he had 2 fights in this tournament, won one by knockout, won by a decision against I say, Jack and this other lad in the finals were both such high level. It's a really good scrap. And now he's 5-0 with 3 knockouts, some incredible performances. And that's all just fed in from that kids program, training properly, getting into the adults. And now he's a bit more outward and spoken. You know, he'll actually have a chat with you and stuff, which is really nice to see. You know, the confidence of knocking out 3 dudes will really,
that helped, wouldn't it? Fucking hell. You know, like you said, I totally agree though, bro. Like the kids classes, I think, bring out a different part in the coaching aspect. As you said, like, you have to be a bit different. But then my one is, I found, I'm not going to say it was a challenge, but I've got a girl in my kids class as well, and she's the only girl basically, but she's related to little bad Brad, and like, I found I had to do things a little bit different, not too different, you know, like, you're not changing the class to work around her or anything, but like, to see the development of like the confidence. Like, she come in, and now, like, I'll say to her, right, start running, and she'll just take the warm up. She'll just like, right, start stretching on me. She just goes into the middle, and she's like, right, let's go, let's do this, because she knows what's coming next. So if I'm like, you know, it's like you end up fucking picking up gloves, or you're picking up pads to set up what you're going to be doing, and then the bell will go, and the next voice is hers. She's shouting out in the middle of the class. She's like, right, on me, stretch, let's go. And it's little things like that from the consistent training and turning up and fucking being it. I think that when you see it from the coach's side, coach's perspective, it's one of the best things ever, man. Like, yeah. I fucking love it. I love seeing the boys win. You know, I love seeing everything like that. But like, when you see somebody come in and develop into something completely different to what they were when you first seen them, that's even better for me.
Yeah.
You know,
it's unlocking potential of people, isn't it? It's, I mean, I think to myself, not everybody's going to be a fighter. Some people are here to just be hobbyists. Some people would be better suited in a coaching role, and some people really want to do it and test themselves and compete. And all of that is fine. Like, there's no right way of doing it. Like, you don't have to fight to be a good coach. You don't have to coach to be a good fighter. And if you're a hobbyist, like it frustrates me sometimes that some of the hobbyists don't train as actively as they could. I'm like, look, I know you don't want to fight, and I know you're not interested in coaching, but the room benefits from you being here. Like,
you know, sorry to cut you off, but I said the exact same thing to one of my old partner training. I said one of the exact same things to one of the girls training with us yesterday. She was like, "Oh, I know I'm a beginner." I was like, "No, you bring something completely fucking different to the whole room that you may not think is equivalent, but like, what you do is something that he hasn't seen, or they haven't experienced." Do you know what I mean? I know exactly what you mean by that. That's a very good point. That is.
Yeah, I'm like, sometimes it's just being a good pad man. Yeah. So it means that the fighters can get good pad work in, rather than getting paired up with somebody newer who's not as like well versed on the pads. And sometimes it's just being a good sparring partner, because you don't realise you think about like the elites of the sport. You think about somebody like John Jones. Like, he didn't get there on his own. He's got a certain amount of coaches and a certain amount of his team sparring partners. But then also, it's like, think of all the people that he must have sparred with in the past, and held pads with, and done all of that with in the past. Hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, and you don't realize what a stepping stone you are for these people that are going on and competing.
You have an influence, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Like you could come from, let's say, for example, you come from a boxing background, and you come in and you do your K1 classes, and you start to throw kicks and you're enjoying it, and then you find a way where you throw a left hook and you pick up on your partner. You're like, oh, you're not doing it right. Do you know what I mean? It's just little things like that, isn't it? It's the encouragement as well. I find that, like, having people there who want to be there, that's the biggest thing. When somebody wants to be there, everyone in the room is progressing, isn't it? It's better than just having, oh yeah, it's here about me. No, it's not about you. It's about everybody.
Yeah, collectively as a team. That's one thing I would say at the moment. Although at the moment we're probably as elite as we've been, but over the years we had a couple of guys drop in. They've trained at other gyms. They'd moved to our area, and they were training with us for a bit. So I would say that, like, the top three elite guys were like people that had trained elsewhere for years and come and train with us. But the room wasn't as good, if that makes sense. The rest of the team were below these guys. But nowadays, although we don't have that elite level, the room is so much higher.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
It's a much better quality of gym right now. I love where the gym is right now. It's at such a good level, and we've got such a really good team. And you know what's the funniest thing about it? I mean, you'll probably know this yourself, as you've been around the sport for so long. But I think from the outside, people always think that fighters are aggressive and they got neck tattoos and face tattoos and stuff. And I'm like, mate, some of my fighters are the coolest guys in the world. They're all so chill. Don't get me wrong, you get the occasional sort of egotistical one.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like comic book nerds and Minecraft. Jed's a Minecraft lover, dude. Like, to a horrific state. He loves a bit of Minecraft, but I think at 58 kilos, he might be the best amateur in the country.
He is a fucking problem, that boy is.
He's a real problem. I mean, you saw him fight on your show, and we had a hell of a trouble through that fight camp with his MCL tear. He had a really bad, I think it was like an 80% sprain.
It was like 2 weeks out, wasn't it? I remember we were talking, and we were talking. You sent me a video of the whole. What did he have to have done?
So we didn't do it in the end. We just managed it with standard paracetamol, ibuprofen, and just ice rest recovery and trying to do all the physio properly and stuff. But we had to change his fight camp completely to get through. You think those final, I think it was 3 weeks out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then those final 3 weeks, those are the most intense training and the bits that you really try and refine what you're doing. And we basically just had to sit him on a bike and be like, enjoy that, bro. But as I said to him, I was like, you know how to fight, so as long as you're fit, we'll do it. But we were considering a sugar injection.
That's it. I remember we were talking about something. I just couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah, and it's to stiffen the ligament. So my girlfriend, she works as a physiotherapist at a clinic here in Banbury called Clinical. And they specialize in ultrasound scanning and sort of guided injections and things. And we were weighing up the pros and cons of this. I mean, obviously, I'm a dummy, so I don't know the ins and outs of it. But basically, it's a sugar injection that causes like a bit of a graft and sort of stimulates the stiffness of the ligament. But with Jed being so young, 18, he we didn't want to risk anything, basically, like future proof, because although fighting is important and stepping in there on fight day is important, as best as you can be, what you don't want to be is in your 30s and 50s being like, God, I shouldn't have done that just for the scrap that I could have pulled out of, worst case. You know?
Yeah.
I think if he'd have been 21, 25, something like that, we'd have probably just jammed it in and been like, cool, let's go. But as it was, it performed well. The knee held up on the night, and we managed to get the win there over Neo Price. Lynne.
Yeah, Neo Lynne from.
Dude, I like that guy, man. That guy's cool as shit, and it's great to see him going for success, from success to success in MMA. I think he's picked up a couple of wins and a couple of titles since that fight.
They're a great gym, man. Savage. They're fucking. They as you've seen on the night, they come to fucking fight. Like
they do, mate. They do.
You know, like you can't take nothing away from that. That was a fucking. They turned up. You know, we're talking about fighting and stuff. So what do you look for when you're matching your fighters? Obviously, as you've got a big stable now, you know, and with the MMA, the K1, you know, you're there and everywhere. Like, what are you looking for as a coach? Are you looking for anything in particular when you match them up with anything?
No, if I'm being honest, I don't really. We don't pick and choose fights. As you know, we've worked with you on a couple of matches now.
Yeah.
We're really not picky and choosy. We don't care about giving up a bit of experience. I think the most experience gap we've given away is like 9 fights. I think with some of the older guys now, I'm starting to be like, well, could we get somebody that's like similar, like 5 years aside, something like that? Just because the speed element is such a advantage or disadvantage. And I know not every 25-year-old's as fast as every other 25-year-old, but there is definitely something in the fact of like being a little closer to like masters or veterans category. But you know, you can still fight, still scrap, still throw down. So that's really been the only thing. We've given up advantages in almost every fight, whether it be age, experience, weight, whatever. I don't really care. My only thing that I do look for is the experience. You know, when somebody gives you a list and they're like, "Oh, this guy, he's fighting his debut," and then you look into him, you're like, "Mate, he's had 17 boxing matches. It's his K1 debut, but he's fought 17 times." Okay, you know, and going from there. We had a bad one of those recently where somebody was going in for asking for a K1 debut, and then we looked him up, and he was 5-2 in MMA, amateur MMA. I was like, dude, do one, you know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I didn't think my guy could beat him, but it was just because I'm like, you're not trying to play fair here. You're not declaring your record. It's just be honest.
And it's not just that, but the amateur MMA, I'm not taking nothing away from amateur K1, but like with amateur MMA, I know it's obviously a complete different fight, but like you're not wearing shin pads, you're not, you know, you got the smaller gloves on. So like you could end up having somebody who will stand and bang for fucking 3 rounds. They will literally stand in front of you and just fight for 3 rounds. They won't take you down. And I think that you gain a lot from that to then transition into a K1 debut. Like, here's one, Declan Upshell from Valhalla in Weymouth, right?
Okay.
Deck has got, I think he was 2-3 at the time when he fought on ours, and I think he was making his either the 2nd or 3rd fight in K1. And I was speaking to Deck about it, and Deck said the same thing. He was like, fighting MMA, you have, because you got the smaller gloves and no shins, like he goes, you feel it a little bit more, and then when you transition to K1, he goes, I don't really feel it as much, you know. And
yeah,
I think that taken from the experience, like it's not the best, man. When you got people going, oh yeah, I'm making my debut in this, but I'm 10-2 as this, so I'm 25-1. We've noticed it. Like I was saying to Liam, we've had it a couple of times with like 3 or 4 people for Rhondda Rampage, where they come up and they go, oh yeah, this is my record, but then you go back into their fucking Instagram or you go back into their Facebook and you're like, wait there.
Yeah, hold fire.
Yeah, excuse me. Why are you holding a belt in a fucking cage?
It's my friend's belt. It's my friend's belt.
Yeah, I'm just carrying it for him, honest.
Yeah. Like when you get caught with drugs on you.
Yeah,
I was holding that for a mate.
This is honest.
Yeah.
But no, I totally agree with you, bro. Like, especially giving up experience, it's one of those, isn't it? Like you can give up some experience. I do with my fighters. I remember when we had Joshy, for example, fought on Road to BKFC. He fought an ex-pro.
Yeah.
Joshy fought an ex-pro in hybrid, and like this guy has fought fucking everybody. Josh went 3 rounds with him, and realistically, Josh did beat him. But like, it's the opportunity, innit? You know, if you get given this opportunity, and you get given this opportunity to go out and shine and do something that you've been working towards, it's kind of like, do I really want the fact that he's got 3 or 4 more fights than me to hold me back? Or like, it's one of them. It happened with one of my other fighters, Jory. We had I think it was 2 or 3 days out, and we went from fighting somebody who was 3-3 to 11-1, and it's just like,
Yeah.
And I said to Jory, was like, "Do you think I can beat him?" I was like, yes, I do. And it was like, okay, cool, let's do it. And I'd be honest, he put a clinic on him, you know, and
Yeah. Good.
it's one of them, and it's like carrying the confidence into it as well. I think that does help. But then obviously, as you said, carrying the confidence from your coach as well, that does help too. You know, especially if you've got somebody behind you pushing you in the right direction. I think that's always a fucking a big one. Like,
Yeah.
so
I think I tell my fighters on fight day, you know, or in the build up to it, I'm always like, look, I wouldn't be putting you in for it if I didn't think you could do it, and we wouldn't be here on fight day if I didn't think you could do it. So if you're not feeling confident, just know that I'm confident in you.
Yeah.
But you do want to try and avoid that it's not snowflake moment, you know, like Ace Ventura when he's diving around in the tank, like, oh, it's not snowflake. Where you're like, right, we're just 2 debuters that's just going to go and feel it out. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes out cracking a nice little 3-piece, and you're like, dude, this guy's tidy. That's not snowflake, man.
My coach used to hide that he wouldn't let us watch the shows. Like, so like, as mad as it would be, he would just say to us, "Right, go and sit in the back. Can't watch any show." I remember I fought down in a social club, and I think I was on 9th or 10th. Anyway, it was like later on in the evening. First 5 fights won by knockout. He was like, "Go and sit in the back. Just go and sit down in the back." Because you're just like, fucking hell. And then, you know,
what is this?
Yeah, 4-on MMA gloves. You're in a fucking cage. The lights are on top of the cage, you know, and it's just like, the environment was mental. And he said, right, go and sit out the back. We'll be fine. You know, it is one of them. But
I think everybody's different, and I try and manage my team individually.
Yeah.
So we get some guys that are really nervous on fight days, some guys that are just cool as shit, some guys need waking up a bit, and you just got to play on their personality and emotion of the day. So some guys will sit there and watch every fight until 4 fights before, 5 fights before, and I'm like, come on now, let's go and
you're dragging them from the chair.
Yeah. And other lads just want to sit in the back, or we just go and take a walk and just make it feel normal for a little bit. Depending on where you are, man, it depends. I know at Rhondda we were like, right, let's go for a walk. What is there? I mean, there's a little. That was the highlight, mate. That's where the tarmac got good. This little has a lawnmower, mate.
I was going to ask you, right? So, what was your first impression of, like, obviously, because coming from Banbury and being in the Rhondda, what was it like when you come down? Because obviously, we are with the location of the welfare. It is kind of, I'm not going to say in the middle of nowhere, but well, it is pretty much. You know, you're on the street. Yeah. What was it? What was it like coming down?
Mate, it was interesting. What I would say is, I love the venue, man. The venue was awesome. I liked that old history style of it. You know, it's a bit. It's not just like a modern box. You know, it's got a bit of character to the building and stuff, and that I feel plays into the atmosphere of the room. And I think also when they like, I'm big into like buildings and other bullshit, but I think back when they were building things like that back in the day, they did factor in things like the acoustics and the feel of the room. So when the crowd is screaming, man, you can hear it. It like wraps around the room really well. But it did need a little TLC there, mate. No. Yeah, we were. Well, what I say is, we've definitely gone to worse. Areas, but Rhondda was an experience, mate. It was an experience.
The thing is, touching on the venue, with the venue, like, it was built in 1903 originally, and then it was turned into a miners' hall in 1933, and like, it's the last miners' hall in the Rhondda, and built by miners as well. So it's like just those little things, you know. And it sounds mental, right? But like, I don't think I've said this story. So Rhondda Rampage 6. Yeah. So 6, we had to change venue. And basically we got fucked over with a license in our other place. And we had to change venue completely. Now, this is mental, right? But like, I don't know if you've seen the staff t-shirt. Obviously with Flow Fight, where I do all the kit in it. So with the staff t-shirts, we had I put minors on them. I was like, I don't know why I'm gonna go with this minor feel, for this new one. And Liam's like, yeah, fucking great, blah blah blah. We were two days out from the show. We had no venue. And literally we went up to the welfare. Massive thanks to Becca and her team up there, because I knocked the door, walked into the welfare. I was like, do you need a TENS license? She's like, no, why? Saturday, are you free? She's like,
yeah.
She's like, yeah. I was like, I've got a fight show and we've sold out. Can we move the whole thing here? And she's like, fuck, yeah, leave it with me. And I'd be fair to her. Within 20 minutes, she had the team was there. She built a team to come and work. But what I was getting at was like everything we built for that 5th show or 6th show, even, sorry, was all minor themed. So it kind of like felt there was like
meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fell into place.
Yeah. And now, we're not going to move anywhere else. That's the home of us now. Like we'll never go anywhere else. And you are right. The acoustic, Ricky Wright said at the MC, the acoustics are fucking mental in there. Like I think my favorite part is, that little corridor just before you walk out, that single file corridor there.
Yeah.
I was saying to Tyler, one of the boys from Gladiators, it does feel Coliseum-ish. You're in that very small fucking space. You're waiting for your name to be called. And yeah, I love the venue, man. I really do. I think it adds that little bit more Rhondda, if you get what I'm saying. Do you know? Because obviously being the minor-esque stuff, I think it adds that little bit more Rhondda to it.
But as far as, I like the fact that the warm-up rooms were far away from the fight, because it makes the walk seem real. It gives you that little bit of time to think about it and just take in what's going on. I also like the fact that there was enough space for teams to have their own warm-up rooms, rather than, sometimes you all get put in one room, sometimes they put a curtain across, sometimes they don't, and you're warming up next to the dude that you're going to fight. I don't like any of that. I want to keep it. Look, I know this isn't the UFC. It's nothing is. The UFC is on its own, but I still like there to be that little bit of, you're going to bump into your opponent, you're going to see him in the corridor, but you're not stuffed in a room with him for 8 hours until the fight kicks off. And it's nice to be so far away from the fights that you're basically just chilling. We're chilling in a room, just hanging out, and it's easy enough to just sit back and be like, okay, we can relax. If you want to chill, we can chill. If you want to watch the fights, we can go up and watch the fights. But we were far enough removed that whatever suited the temperament of the day was just down to a teammate. I think it's a really good venue. Because I said to you when I was there, I was like, dude, the crowd is full, like the place is packed. Are you thinking of going anywhere bigger? You're going to go on a bigger stage or anything? And you were like, nah, this is the venue. This is how I want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's it. You can maximize that thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. It would be nice to have a bit more wraparound of the crowd with the ring, but is what it is. Is what it is. I'd rather it work the way it's working, and there's so many good aspects about the show that you've got on that if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the crowd. One of the things you said about is the walkout. One of my bigger, I don't know if you've noticed, but one of my biggest pushes for the show is it's all about the fighters. It's got fuck all to do with anybody else. It's got nothing to do with, it's nothing to do. It's not us trying to push the show. It's the fighters. It's about the fighters, and like everything, we want it to be for them. Do you know what I mean? Like we bring in, like our DJ had a massive rig. We bring in the smoke. Obviously, we're still only 7 shows in, and like we're trying to make it as exciting for you as a debut as it would be for example, Cornelius, who headlined our last show. He fought in BKB last weekend, so it's kind of like we're trying. I'm not going to say we're on par with them, nowhere near. But what I'm trying to say is that we're trying to do the same thing. We're trying to make the same footsteps of like, it's about the fighter, it's about them, it's not about fucking us, it's not about anything else, and that's what we're trying to do. And that's why, like, we do as much as we do with the media stuff and try and get everybody in, just because it makes fighters feel more appreciated, I find, you know.
It really does. It really does. I mean, I've noticed with your show, you obviously do a lot of follow up with it as well. Like, there's always little highlights coming out and little clips and little
Yeah.
like pictures and things are always getting posted out, and that's fantastic because for me, I try and have an active social media page anyway, and sometimes you're thinking to yourself, oh, I should have taken some more footage last night. I should have got a picture of this, picture of that. But you're so busy coaching in the moment, you know? And then all of a sudden it'll be like Flow Fightwear or Flow Fight Club wants to
Yeah.
collab with you. I'm like, bam, hit collab, mate. Job done.
Because obviously after Jed and Neo, I think it got commented, didn't it? It's like, was there any other fight on in the evening? It's just like, well,
Look, mate, you put one of my fighters on your show, people are going to talk about it for a long time, you
you
know?
know, it's and that's the thing. It's like I do all the editing and stuff myself, and like I want I don't care if you win, you lost, or whatever. Like for me, it's getting you out there. And it's the same as Jazz, captured by Jazz or a photographer, and undefeated media. Like I say to him, it's like, look, just as much as we can, just get as much as we can. Try and interview him. Try and do this. Try and do that. Try and get the team photos. Try and get like fucking portraits, or try and do this. And like these are the things that, again, as you said, that sometimes you can get lost on doing, through the day. And that's why we try and do it as much as we do. And then also, not just that, but like it's good. You can be 3 weeks away from, it's like, oh yeah, fucking, how was the fight last week? Yeah, it was great. But then 3 weeks in, you're like, oh fuck, I remember I remember landing our head kick, or I don't remember landing our low kick, or something like that, And I think that brings in a little bit more, and it keeps people more engaged. I'd rather have people fucking talking about us than not, like,
Exactly.
and that's the thing.
And you do the big stuff on YouTube and that all the fights go out in, full HD, good quality and stuff. So like, as far as a fighter that wants exposure, it's a fantastic show to fight on, because you're like, there's going to be pictures of you. The full fight's going to get uploaded in high quality. There's going to be shorts and highlights and all of this sort of stuff that is just going to be a constant drip feed throughout months after the show, which it's fantastic, because a lot of people do the show and they're like, oh, time to relax, and you're the other way around. You're like, now it's time to work, man. Let's get busy.
And I'll be honest, like that comes from, we were talking about passion at the start, when you were saying about passion with your business partner from 10th Planet and the rest and stuff. That's what it's like with me and Liam. Like with me and Liam, I've got the same thing when it's like, right, okay, cool, let's do it now. Like we've already started planning November's one. Like we've already started looking, okay, that's what we're gonna do for November. And that's where I wanted to be. I just wanted to be that place where you know that you're gonna get something back, because let's be honest, it's a hobby right now for a lot of people. Nobody's fucking, nobody's full time getting paid. No one's getting fucking big sponsors, and that's the only thing you do. So like, if we can give you as much back as we possibly can, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I look at it. Like, and back to what you said earlier on about the glory days, as they were, I fucking hell, I can't. I think two of my fights were recorded, if that, and I had to buy a DVD for like £40 if I can get them.
Yes.
And like you have no photos unless there's somebody sat in a crowd taking the photos of you. There's a photo on my Facebook, I'm covered in fucking blood, right? But you can't even see
so
me.
Pixelated.
Yeah, because of the cage. Do you know what I mean? Because the cage is pixelated around me and stuff. And it's things like that I think that it just brings it in a bit more, and it makes you feel fucking appreciated, like.
Yes.
And that's the thought.
One thing, from show to show, it's so different. I mean, I can't strictly remember the setup with yours, but I'm going to assume that it was good. But the fight photography stuff, it's like these lads they're paying to do a hobby, and then they're traveling to the show. They're not getting paid unless they've sold a couple of tickets, and even then, it's like, how many tickets you're selling? Maybe they're making 50 quid. And then the photographer will turn around and be like, oh yeah, if you want all the pictures from that fight, it'll be 150 quid. I'm like, mate, mate, I might change from being a gym owner to being a fight day photographer, because there seems to be some fucking money in it. But no, it's good when the venue, the promoter, pays the photographer, and it's just like, do it, lump sum, day rate,
Yeah.
Make sure that all the fighters get what they want.
Well, we've worked with Jazz, Captured by Jazz from show one, and I'll be honest, there's absolutely no other person we would ever work with photography. I literally, she's part of the team, setup team. She turns up when we do the weigh-ins. Obviously, she takes photos, but like she's part of the setup team. She's like, right, let's change this, let's do this. She's part of it, you know, and like that's the way that I want it to be, and because she shares the passion for it. She fights herself, right? So it's like, you know, she's obviously got that, and that's one of the biggest things. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that like a lot of I'm not going to say photographers miss, but like there's a couple of shots that she's caught of the guys from like some of the other shows from like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you look at them, you're like, fucking hell, that's an awesome shot. She's got one of Corn walking off after dropping his opponent in the last one, and he's cracked him, and he just turned around and walked off, and his opponent's on the floor like this. And I'm thinking, I was like, that's such a cool fucking photo.
It is, isn't it? Backdrop.
Yeah, and she's done it in between the ropes as well. So she's got like the rope, and I'm just like, fucking hell, that's class. And then the other side is with my kids team, she gives the kids team a little Polaroid. So then she has the kids walking around with a Polaroid camera, taking fucking old school Polaroid photos, and there's stuff like that. Again, as you said, it makes it more, you know, more worth it, especially for the fight. As you said, you're paying for everything. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The travel, the fucking, you pay to get your hands wrapped. You know, you pay to do this, you pay to do that, and it is one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, you're your own sponsor when you're a fighter for sure.
Yeah. So, Harry fighting Cory from Team WKU. K1 bout sponsored by Captured by Jazz. What's your thoughts on this one?
So it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Harry is strict K1 through and through. And Cory seems to be honest, I looked into him and I couldn't find too much out there, but I've seen a few like highlights from sort of American freestyle and stuff. So I think this is his K1 debut, if I'm right.
Yeah, K1
but he's
debut.
Obviously very experienced in the sort of semi-light contact American freestyle. So I think it'd be interesting because, you know, freestyle doesn't always necessarily cross over into K1 very well because of the low kicks and the knees and things. But he's experienced, you know, he is really experienced. But what I will say is Harry is a good textbook fighter. He keeps a good, calm head on him when he's in the fight. And he's a banger as well, man. Like, he's a real fucking banger. Yeah, if you try going side on with Harry, you'll have a very sore calf afterwards, mate. He's a hell of a fighter, mate. I love Harry to bits.
And one of the things that you guys have kind of got now is that like Cory's local, and it's same as Jacob as well. Jacob's only from Cardiff, so it's only like half hour away from us. Mm-hmm. Cory's local, and you kind of like you guys are used to kind of coming away now, aren't you? You know, like the away day kind of thing. So you're coming into enemy territory. Are you expecting it to be a very Cory Copp crowd?
Oh, mate, the Striking Clinic have got fans all over the place, mate. You know, wherever we fight, we only need one fighter on a show, and all of a sudden the crowd's on our side, you know? So, yeah, I mean, scream for us, boo for us, whatever you want to do. Like, you'll be a fan of us by the end of it. You don't you worry.
I love it. Now, you said about Harry, if Cory goes side on, is there anything that you think Harry's going to cause problems with against Cory?
Look, I think Harry has a very good all-round K1 style. So what's funny about him is I use Harry for a lot of like demonstrations and things, and he can do everything well. He can do it all well. Like hooks, uppercuts, crosses, overhands, kicks, question mark kicks, spinning shit. He does it all incredibly well. But when he fights, he just has a very like take a few hits, keep your chin tucked and start lobbing back kind of style. So yeah, it depends. I think it's going to be one or two things. It's either going to be Cory doing something flashy and, you know, trying to make a lot of space and skip around the ring, or it's going to be Harry backing him into a corner and beating the fuck out of him. So we'll have to wait till fight day to find out which one's which, you know?
I'm just excited for it. I'm going to be honest. I like having you guys come down after Jed, and obviously me working with you for so long as well. I have become a fan of the guys, you know, like I always watch everything that you do and all that type of stuff. And it's a good fight. And especially with Cory as well. Like Cory's done Cory's been part of the judging team and all that type of stuff with Rhondda Rampage. So like Cory's quite close to it as well. So it's a fucking interesting fight, man. And I am really excited. And me and Liam are very excited for it. Like, and again, it's when you said about hearing the noises, like we're at the side. we're literally just behind you in the corner, fucking making sure we get the best view. So we'll be there for that one. Now, Rob
Yeah.
Tennant versus Jacob Lord. Now, Jacob Lord comes from Eagles Muay Thai. Now, complete different style, you know. So, what's your thought with this one? This one's sponsored by Box Combat app as well. So, tell me about Rob.
So Rob he's a good all rounder. He's got some very interesting setups and things. He's quite powerful, tall, slim build. Um, yeah, he's good. He's quite a rangy guy. He likes to sit back and stay on his range. But ironically, in his debut fight, one of the best things he did was sort of sit in the pocket and lob a big overhand, knock the guy down, and then the fight was just his from there. So it was the stuff that he doesn't like doing that actually got him the win. But he's come on a lot since then. He's had a bit of time out with traveling, work changes, commitments, and all sorts of stuff. So he hasn't been in the gym full time since the last fight, but he's really been back on it and focused over the last couple of months. And he's going to put in a really good performance in this one for sure.
Obviously, with Jacob coming in as 0-2, is there anything that you've prepped for or you're expecting from him? Because obviously you can see a little bit more with Jacob, can't you? Because he's got 2 fights out, so you can kind of have a bit more footage to see.
Yeah, I think I've watched his debut fight because that was the only one. That's the only one I could find on YouTube. If you type in Jacob, what last name was Legend? Was it? Lord. Sorry, yes. So I typed in Jacob Lord fight, and it just came up with a bunch of religious, a bunch of religious videos. I was like, well, I can't scroll through 50 of these, but I managed to find his debut fight, and I actually think the fight that he lost by a decision. But if it had been a K1 fight instead of a Muay Thai fight, I actually think that he would have won. So it's difficult. I was watching that being like, dude, why are you doing Muay Thai? You're a K1 fighter, But I get it that K1's not as popular and easy to get matched up with as Muay Thai. I prefer watching K1. I think it's a much more exciting style of fighting. And I think for a crowd, when you bring in your mates and people that don't necessarily follow the sport, I think K1 is a bit more easy to understand. So, it's similar to boxing. Whoever hits who more and more effectively wins. Whereas with Muay Thai, positions and clinches and sweeps and things, it all adds up in the scoring system. But as an onlooker, you're like, hang on a minute, that guy just got his head boxed in and didn't and still managed to win the fight. So I think style for style, I think it's a very good matchup. I think we've now got 2 kickboxers going in to have a proper kickboxing match, and I think that's going to be really good.
Are you expecting to be, as you said, rangy or kind of like, what are you expecting from this one from Rob?
From Rob likes to sit back. Rob likes to outclass people, so he doesn't like to necessarily get in and scrap, although he can stand in the pocket and bang like we've discussed before. He's got good heavy hands, heavy kicks, good clinching and knees and things. But I think Rob is going to be trying to stay on the outside, and Jacob, of course, is going to be trying to close the gap. I think that he's going to be the shorter of the two. So if Rob can keep it on his range, it's going to be a rough night for Jacob. And of course, if they're going to get in these 50-50 exchanges in the pocket, it's going to be more interesting,
I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to the 2 of them. Like we're still trying to, obviously you've got a couple of other guys we're trying to sort out as well. We're trying to get as many from Striking Clinic down on there as possible. But I am looking forward to these 2. Cory, 100%, especially like that. That's going to be a really good fight, especially being Cory's debut. I think with Harry, he's going to bring something out of Cory, which is going to be something that I think is going to be exciting. And then with Rob and Jacob, I think Jacob coming, obviously being 0-2 is, again, records, they don't really show the fights, as you said, do they? Do you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like when he fought for Ass in the first one, as you said, like he was getting tripped and clinched and thrown and blah 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 blah. But like I do Jacob's I obviously watch all Eagles training stuff myself. Jacob's looking fucking, he's up for it. That's one of the things that you can definitely say about Eagles is they bring the guys to fight. And I think that's what makes the fights with you guys even better, because you are gonna you come in to fight. You're not coming to fucking tiptoe around it. Do you know what I mean? You're not coming to just counter. You're coming in there to fucking put a performance on. And I think that from the both gyms, obviously Team WKU and Eagles, I think that that's what fits really well against you guys. And from a promoter's point of view, it makes me excited, man. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I mean, I say to the guys, we never really discuss winning and losing in and out of the gym.
Mm.
It's not something we talk about. All I ever talk about is performance. I'm like, you know how to fight. All we need you to be is fit enough that on fight day you can perform well, and that's what we do. Every exchange is just thought about as singular exchanges. Um, yeah, we don't consider the fight as far as did I win that round, did I lose that round. We're just here to fight,
Yeah.
and as long as we perform well, we tend to win,
What would a successful night look like for the team then? I know you said you don't look for the wins and the losses and all that type of stuff, but what's a successful night for you guys?
um Look, we got the team's in a good place right now. The support around the gym is really good, and I think as far as this year's gone so far, we've we've had 12 wins, one loss as a team, and the loss, it was a bit of a quick call by the ref, which I wasn't necessarily happy about. But as I say, I don't want to dog on people. Ref was in the moment, and that's what his call was. It's what it is. But yeah, it's a strong record with a really strong team. Everybody's very supporting of each other at the moment, especially with me being off the mats myself at the moment for the next couple of weeks. And yeah, I think it's strength to strength, and it's also, I have like principal training, so we don't necessarily once we focused on form and everybody knows what a punch is and what a kick is, it's then how to throw it, when to throw it, why to throw it, where to go next. Um, and I can get a bit stuck in my rut with that. I'm like, look, the three most important punches are jab, cross, and lead hook. Those are the three most important punches. So every session's going to have some sort of focus on one, two, or three of those, and then we'll build off of that. Um, and now the team has uh, a broader scope because there's so many people that are covering classes and putting their little touch on it, and everybody's showing their A game now as well, because they only
Yeah.
have to coach a class like once a fortnight. They can really show the team what they do for their A game and try and sprinkle that across the whole squad. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all the fights whilst I've been off. I'm watching. I will be fit and well by the 29th of August, so I'll be there in person. I think I've got
Lovely.
one show, maybe two shows coming up that I don't think I'm going to be on, but the team is good. They're in such a strong place, and they're so supportive of each other during this time. So
Love
we'll give it
it.
a go.
Before we wrap it up, Ben, the last question I have for you, right, is what can the Rhondda Rampage crowd expect from Striking Clinic on August the 29th?
Textbook striking, mate. That's what we're after. No silly mistakes, no buffoonery. Nobody's coming in gung ho just to have a slang and a bang. We're here to do the job and do it right. We're here to crack and hopefully pick up a couple of highlights. That'd be nice.
Love it. Right. So before we wrap this up, right, is anyone you want to give a shout out to? And then where is the best place for people to follow Striking Clinic and yourself as well?
I suppose I got to shout out to the main players, yourself and Flow Fightwear. You guys have supported me since I made the swap to you. You've always been very easy to work with, and I greatly appreciate it because you're the middleman for me. You get the stuff, you deal with the factories. I don't want to deal with any of that. You deal with the designs, you deal with all of the process. This stuff just turns up at my door and I pay the bill and I'm good to go. Yeah, a good shout out to my buddy Gav from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu Banbury, because without him and his gym and the support that he's given us over the years, none of this would be possible. And of course, my team that have been supporting us, Jed, Zach, Louis, Jamie. There's so many guys that have been covering classes and even been popping around here whilst I've been on the crutches to help me out, support me and stuff. Um, and the ways to find us, I am most active on Instagram for sure. That would be the easiest way to get in touch. Just drop me a message on there. And if not, just go through the website, strikingclinicbanbury.com. We've got a week's free trial on. Feel free. to sign up and drop in.
Awesome. So Striking Clinic return to Rhondda Rampage. This time we've got Harry Grundy versus Cory Copp. K1 bout sponsored by Captured by Jazz. Then we got Rob Tennant versus Jacob Lord. K1 bout sponsored by the Box Combat app. Rhondda Rampage 7 is August 29th, Tylorstown Welfare Hall. Doors open at 5, first fight's at 6. Tickets on Boxed or directly from fighters. Just want to say thanks to our sponsors, Flow Fightwear, the FFC podcast, Captured by Jazz, Combat Parkinson's, Box Combat app, Nails by Sancha, and Liam.W Design. And I just want to say thanks, Chris. Thanks for joining me today, bro. I really appreciate it. I know you had some other stuff to get on with, so I appreciate it. But just want
keeping myself busy, mate. Keeping myself busy. That's it, mate. That's it.
I love it. But thanks very much, bro. And I really appreciate it. Thanks very much, everybody else. And we look forward to seeing you on Fight Night. Awesome. Thanks very much. Bye.
I'm ready for war. I'm ready for war. Always up with me. I'm ready for war. 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 I come from taking losses, throwing crosses every day.